Ever wondered how your favorite apps magically send you notifications even when they are closed? Like boom, you just got a message, an alert, or a promo, and you didn't even open the app. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to set up push notifications in React Native even if you've never done it before. We'll cover everything from configuring your app to handling notifications on both iOS and Android. By the end, you will have real push notifications working in your own app. No more guessing, no more errors. Let's make your app talk back. Stick around to the end of the video. I'll share one pro tip that saves you hours when debugging notifications. Let's go.
So to start with, right, we're going to make sure we have our IDE open. For me, I'm going to be using Cursor, right? You can use, any IDE of your choice, VS Code and the likes. Anyone works really. And you're also going to have your phone open right here, right? Or your, simulator or your Android device connected. This is my iPhone right here. And on the phone, right, you're going to make sure you have Expo Go installed. You can get that on, the Apple Play Store for free. Also, if you want to follow this tutorial to the extent that you want to install the app on your phone like a normal WhatsApp app, which we are definitely going to be doing, you need a test flight app on your phone as well, right? So without further delay, let's jump into creating the React Native app. So if I head to my browser, let me just move this right here. If I head to my browser and head to docs.expo.dev, right, I'm going to copy this command. What this command does is install a fresh React Native app with Expo, right? So I'm going to minimize this and open up my terminal. So right here in my cursor, I'm going to go to terminal, new terminal. I'm going to bring this up. And this shows this, which is the root of my laptop. I'm going to just cd into desktop. All right. Then paste that command. npx expo, create expo app at latest. So I'm going to click on enter and it's going to run through installing all of the packages. And it's going to show you some questions as well. What is your app named? I'm going to call this a push app. Right, or I just say JPush app, right? JPush app, which is basically Joseph push application, right? Because we're going to be learning everything we need to know about push notification in this video, making sure it works on the Expo Go version, working on our iPhone device, and using Superbase as well. So while this is installing, let's head back to our browser. And that is the only thing we want to do with this, right? So let's just close this. So right here in your expo.dev, right? If you just go to expo.dev, your dashboard, or you just search on Google Expo, you're going to go to expo.dev and you're going to create an account, right? It's basically straightforward, your email, your password, and that's it, right? For me, this is what my dashboard will look like, just like you as well. For me, I have one project. For you, you might have nothing. You would have nothing, right? And you have all this fancy dashboard, right? And also this sidebar. For us, what we're going to do is create a new project, right? Because we want to have this app on, the cloud as well, right? We want to build the app so that anybody can install it on their devices. And saying, is this the right account? We recommend using our organization account for new project instead of personal and all of that. Yes. So I'm going to call this JPush app, which is what we called our app right here, JPush app. You want to make sure that you have the same, name right there. So I'm going to click on create. Right, I want to make sure that we set up all our app projects right away. So you can see for new project, yes, this is what you're definitely going to be doing, right? npm install global EAS. I've done this, but for you, If you haven't, you have to do this, right? So this is still installing. And how do you know that you've actually installed this? Basically, what you're going to do is after this has finished installing, right, you're going to click, a new terminal, right? So you're not seeing the project yet because this is still installing. All right. So just give this a moment to properly install, and we're going to go through all of that. So let's head back to, this right here. We want to make sure you create a One Signal account as well, right? One Signal account or One Signal is the, another alternative to using Expo push notifications. With Expo push notifications, you have limits, right? You have limits. And let me just minimize this. This has already closed. We're going to be able to get all our keys later, don't worry. So this is what I'm talking about. If you head to, a project, right? Let's say I have an existing project. There's nothing in this project, which is what we just created. If you go to push notifications, right? The push notifications comes with some sort of, limit, right? And if you want to explore other packages, One Signal is that tool that will help you, is that alternative, right? So if you click on Get Started Now, this is where you register. For me, I've registered before. I don't need to create an account again. I'm just going to click on Login, and I'm going to log in into my Gmail. So clicking that, I'm going to be taken to my dashboard, all right? And like I said, what we're just doing for now is just creating all of the accounts. We're going to go in depth into what we need to do on each of these accounts. All right. So let me just refresh. This doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Okay. Anyway, we'll come back to this. Just refresh one last time. Refreshing. And what else is installing? Let's check on our terminal here. And nothing seems to be happening. We're not seeing anything. Okay, let me just bring this here. Or let me check my desktop and see if everything has properly installed. So JPush app, as you can see, everything has installed, right? And let me just pick this and drag it inside of your cursor right there. All right. So let me minimize this. So click this to close this new chat and minimize this as well. All right. So if you check the package.json, this is everything that Expo and React Native use to kickstart a fresh React Native app, right? So if I check, I can see Expo vector icons, which is used for icons. Navigation, this is where you go from a page to a screen and all of that. React Native navigation, this also helps with navigation. Expo, which is built on top of React Native to power React Native apps, right? And all other packages, Expo images, Expo linking, Expo router, Expo splash screen, and the likes. This is the basic boiler code, right? And, to start this, let me just quickly start this so that you can see our apps work. I'm going to say npx, lowercase, npx expo start. Click on enter, and this is going to start your React Native app. As you can see, you're going to see all of the progress. React compiler enabled, starting Metro bundler, Vowler. All right, starting Metro bundler, and you get to this QR code. What you can do with this QR code is pick your camera, scan this, and it is going to open this app on this Expo Go. Right, that is for development purposes. And, this is the URL which you can copy and paste inside of this, right? Web is waiting. And one of the interesting thing about, Expo and React Native is it works on, iPhone, on Android, and also the web, right? So you can access this on this, URL. So using Expo Go, just scan this URL. That is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to pick my camera. And as you can see, it is going to show this icon for you to open on, Expo Go or open in Expo Go. click that, it's going to open the app in Expo Go. So if you scroll up here, you're going to see it's bundling your app. As you can see, bundling JavaScript bundle. And just give this a moment or two. While this is still bundling, right, we can quickly head to our dashboard. As you can see, I'm able to log in into my one signal. That was just a little network issue. And this is what your dashboard will look like as well. And also, to stand, we need this package. So if you head to npmjs.com, to stand is that package that will help you, store your, push token globally in your app. I'm going to show you what I mean in a moment. So if you copy this guy, is that copying? Let me just copy. And let me head back to my app. As you can see, iOS bundled, this is what my default app look like. So if I just minimize this, Ctrl J, head to my app, inside of my tabs, inside of index, right, you can see the home screen. You can see, click on these to minimize things to get an eye level view of what things looks like. And this is the default code that React Natives and Expo gives you to kind of, teach you what the, this industry standard way of building things works, right? So right here, if I just bring this down and I just want to change this from welcome to, let's say, hello world. So I'm going to bring my cursor here, remove all of this and type hello world. Save this. You're going to see that change immediately. That is the power of React Native and Expo. All right. So for all of this, we're going to, remove most of the things here. So if I remove these two guys, right, save this, you're going to see that removed. I want these two guys so that I can, show Expo token and also one signal token, then render the token here. That is why I'm not removing these two guys. All right. And even this, we can change this to push notifications, right? So save this. This is what that would look like. All right. So before we begin using, Expo to get our Expo tokens, we need to set up some things first. All right. So if we head to, like I, did earlier, I copied this. I copied this. I need to install it. What do? Command J to bring up my terminal. Click on this. Don't stop this. Click on this. And press this npmi to stand. All right. So this is going to install the packages and does that specifically. So as you can see, this stopped. Right. This stopped. Let me just clear it. Let me start my server again. Let me start my server again. And that is not the last of the packages that we have to install. We still have to install a package that helps us get push token, right? So if I just go to the web and search for Expo push notification, if I search for this, and if I just click on Expo push notification, you're going to see a whole documentation on how to start with Expo push notifications. And if you click on the first guy here, what you need to know about push notifications, this is, you can read through all of these to get an insight of what push notifications does. But, some things are missing here in the docs that I'm going to walk you through. Right. So this is where we want to install the libraries. As you can see, Expo notifications, Expo device, and Expo constant. Right. These are some of the packages that we are going to install for this to work. All right. So let me just copy all of this. Copy these guys. So what this does is library to help you request for users permission to obtain their push token. So on all devices, like I said, each devices have their own unique push tokens. For you to be able to get each device's push token, you need to ask them, right? And the package to do that is these Expo notifications. Expo device is to check whether the app is running on a physical device. to be able to get or use the full power of push notifications, you need to be on a real device like I am currently. So this package is what helps you with that. Expo constant, is used to get the project ID value from the app config. What this means is if you go to your app.json, later we are going to initialize our app so that we have our ID for this particular app here connected to, our Expo project that we created right here. So this JPush, we have to link it with our code base, right? And to do that, you need an ID, right? So if I click on this, so this ID right here, as you can see, this long ID, you need to put it right here. But I'm going to show you the proper way to do it. And the package to help you, pick that in production is, Expo constant, all right? And this is what some of the configurations look like. Let me just copy this, go to my app, and it says these are started once again. I'm just going to reload. I don't need to scan the QR code again because the app is still live here, but it just crashed here. All right. So let me just put this right here. npx expo install these packages. All right. So it is installing this package. So it is installed 11 packages in total. And if you just close this and head to your package.json, you're going to see Expo device, Expo constants, and Expo notifications, right? So these are some of the packages that we need for our app to work properly with these Expo push notifications. All right. So to get started, the first thing we are going to do is, if you head to your layout, right, you can see this default layout, which basically shows that, okay, this home is this screen right here. This explore is this explore. We want to wrap a file around this so that our push notifications can be available globally. All right. So I'm going to go to my root folder. I'm going to create a new folder right here. Oops, minimize this. Outside of this, create a new folder. You're going to call this providers. All right. So create a new file inside of it as well. And call this notification provider.tsx. So inside of this is what is going to determine if we are going to use, the Expo push notifications, right? These Expo push notifications that they provided out of the box, or one signal, right? So we're going to write the code for it here. And to begin with, what again this does is, this is going to be like the main entry point for push notifications in our app. It automatically uses the correct provider, either Expo or one signal, based on what we set here. It just makes it easy for us to switch between both services, right? So first things first, let's write the code, export default. And to follow with this tutorial, I believe you're going to have a basic knowledge of, JavaScript, TypeScript, right? So I'm going to have notification provider right here. This is what this is going to look like. And is missing something. We're going to be fixing all of this inside of this as well. This is what this will look like. We can definitely return something for now. All right. So inside of this, right, I'm going to pass in children, right? And I'm going to create the type any moment from now. So outside of this, just outside these curly braces, I'm going to have children, because we want to wrap this component around the layout here. So we have to pass in the properties that it's expecting the children. All right. So this is going to be react.react node, right? So if I just, so inside of this return statement, right, I can even remove it for now. I don't want to use a return statement for now. So first things first, I want to say, use effects, right? We're going to import that from React, and this is what this would look like by default. I'm going to pass in an arrow function right here. This is what that looks like. All right. So inside of this, I'm just going to say, console.log, right? And I'm going to say, passing a backtick like this. I'm saying using notification service. All right. And I'm going to pass in a $sign right here. I'm passing notification underscore service. So this I'm going to create in a moment. This is basically just console logging to our terminal right here. Okay, we started using this component. All right. So after this, I'm going to let me just save this so that the error or the code is formatted properly. So let me Control B this to close that. After this, right, I'm going to render the appropriate providers. And how do you do that? It's basically by creating a switch statement. So we're going to pass in this notification service, right? And this is going to be coming. When you say import, right? When you say notification service, and this is going to be coming from notification config. All right. So we're going to import that any moment from now. Right inside of the switch statement, how that works is case, right? Case is Expo, right? If you're using Expo, then you are going to return. Return. Where are we going to return? The Expo notification provider. All right, which is going to also be having children inside of this. So this is what this looks like. We haven't created this yet, but let's just move ahead with things. And we're also going to say case. It is one signal, right? If it is one signal, we are going to return, right, one signal notification provider. Same thing as what we have here, right? Then we are going to see the default is going to be what? And we are just going to say the default is going to be return, right? We're going to return the Expo notification to be our default. We're going to return this to be our default, case. So after the default, we still have to add something and say console.1. All right, console.1. And what is this going to say? We're going to say, let me add a backtick inside of this. I'm going to say unknown notification service. I'm going to pass this notification service inside of it as well. Before we leave here, we still have to write, something here. If you're using both, right? Let's say case, we want to use both, right? Maybe you want to use the both providers, which I highly would not suggest you to, use. Maybe just for testing purposes, you can return, a function like this, and you can copy this, put it right here, copy this. So basically wrapping it one after another. Cut this, put this right here, right? So if I save this, it's going to format properly, and this is what that would look like. All right. Before we even leave here, let's just add to defaulting. Defaulting to Expo. So save this, and as you can guess, we have to create all of these folders, right? Before we create those folders, let's just wrap this up. So after this as well, I want us to, I'm going to say export, we'll say retry. All right, retry from, I'm going to say /expo notification provider. We're still going to create that, I know. And also, I want to export both guys out. So I'm going to use Expo push token store. We're going to create that in a moment. And also use one signal push token store. And this is not going to come from anything. We're just going to export it out. We're going to create these two guys in a bit. So for accessing our push tokens, right? The push token is going to be a long token. Let's quickly go to Expo push notification. So search that on Google. And if you head to the first guy, push notification, to click on it, this is how you test your push token. So this is what the push token will look like. So for us, because we're wrapping our app around layouts, once we get that token, we need to show it in different places. And this is how to access it. All right. We're storing inside the store. And this is what the hook that would let us be able to have that token across our app, either in Home or Explore and wherever. Right. So what we have to do is say export, right, const use push token store, right? This is what this would look like. This is what the arrow function would look like. And I'm going to say const, expo push token, add a comma there, or rather just say is assigned to use expo push token store. Wrap that like that. And for these, we're not even done with this yet. So after this is going to be a method. So remember to add this at the back. So also I'm going to say const, right? We'll say one signal push token is going to be coming from use one signal push token and wrap this around it. So I'm going to say return, right? What am I going to return? Expo push token and also one signal push token. So I'm exporting both of these guys out. A lot of squiggly lines. We still have to create all of these components one after the other. So our notification provider is ready, guys. We can definitely wrap it around our app, but it's going to throw an error, right? Because all of these components are still missing. One after the other, let's start creating it, starting from the notification config. So if you head to my provider, Control B or Command B, open your provider. Inside of this, create a new file called noti. We can definitely just copy all of this. Copy all of this. Copy all of that. Delete this. Create a new file. Paste this exact same thing here, right? And just add .typescript right there. So what this file is going to help us do to be able to finally, to be able to easily switch between Expo and one signal, So what we're going to do is just create the type, right? We're just going to say export, type notification service. And this is going to be Expo, one signal, or both, right? This is definitely what we need. So notification service, let me just do this, and you can see that is cleared. and this is still showing an error. It has no exported method that looks like this, right? Yes, that's correct, because you still have to create this. So this is the first thing we are going to do right here. Moving on, we're going to say export, right? Const notification service, right? And we are going to add the type that we created earlier, which is this guy right here. Notification service. By default, we're going to set it to Expo. Save that, edit to this error disappears, and all of the notification providers should be working fine. That is the first thing we want to fix right here. So before we even leave here, we have to, add our ID, right? So for one signal, we're going to say export const one signal underscore app ID. Just, add an empty string for now. I'm going to show you how to get that. Also, for Expo, we're going to say export const Expo projects underscore ID. And we're also going to add an empty string for now. To get our Expo project ID, let's go to our Expo. And inside of our overview, we are going to see your ID right here, right? So just copy this guy, copy it, and paste this right here. Save this. This is how you get your Expo project ID. So the next thing we want to add is, a feature flag, which is going to help us enable or disable specific features for each of the services, right? So for notification or for one signal, they have their own specific features. You can, disable or enable it, right? So let us create export, right? Const notification underscore config. All right. And first things first, we want to enable console logins of tokens, right? So enable, right, token login. I said this to true. Add a comma right there. So we want to enable Superbase token storage as well. So next we're going to see enable Superbase storage. Set this to true. Add a comma right there. And also let's enable haptics feedback. Enable haptics, right? Haptics is what give life to your app. So that in case you click anything, you see some vibration on your app. It's more than that definitely, but that's one of the closest example I can give you. So we want to enable it to be true. And also if push notifications comes in, you're going to hear a sound and probably a vibration. This is the guy that helps you undo that. So also let's enable verbose login to be able to debug properly. So verbose login, right? So just say this to be true. All right, so then add a comma right here, so that error disappears. So ladies and gentlemen, this is everything we want to add in our notification config. Heading back here, this error should disappear. That's the first thing we want to fix. The next thing, as you can guess, we want to fix is this Expo notification provider. Let's jump into that. So if you go to your providers, right click this. This is where we get the push token and actually test things out, right? So if we create Expo push, or rather Expo notification provider.tsx, right? Inside of this, we can say export default function, and we can say Expo notification provider, right? And right here, we can definitely now say return something. Just return an empty fragment. And let me cut this. Let me cut this. And let me just have this like this. So return an empty fragment. And if you go to your notification provider, you can import this guy right away. All right. So right here, you can say import, Expo notification provider from Expo notification provider. And because we are here to, signify that, okay, we want to wrap, let me correct this type. So because we are still here to specify that we want to definitely, we're expecting the children. That's why this error is still occurring. Has no properties for that. That's fine. We still have to, wrap or put the property inside of this and say, okay, inside of this, right, we're going to say children. Children right there. Are also going to pass all of this. And you can use the suggestions given by AI. Just put children right here. And this is what this should look like. And this error should disappear. All right. So your Expo notification provider, that error disappears. Save that. Gradually, we're progressing. And before we even leave here as well, we can copy all of this as well. For our one signal notification provider, let's copy this, paste this, .tsx. Have this here, same thing that you have in your Expo, and we made a mistake here, I believe. It's supposed to be notification, not notification. Notification provider. All right, so inside of this, notification, all right, always. So it automatically helps us adjust this. So just leave this error for now. We're going to come back and fix that. So like I was saying, just copy everything here as well. Put this right here, all right, and just, adjust the name and just call this, instead of Expo, call this one signal notification provider as well. Same thing. And if you go to your notification provider, you can say import one signal notification provider from, this as well. And you can see some of the errors right here disappears. All right, we still have to, sort this out and all of these. So inside of our Expo notification provider, let's, start adding that code to get all our push tokens, right? So inside of here is where we're going to have all, everything regarding, getting the push token from our device. It's going to be a long one, about 200 lines of code, but it's going to include how to register the Expo push token, that is getting or asking for permission from the user, right? The notification handlers and listeners, also the Android notification channel setup, and also haptic feedbacks, right? So to get started with this, let's just head to, even before this, right? We initially added, let's close this one signal for now. We initially added, this retry here. So let's create that function right away. So right here, we are going to say, let's create the helper functions. And inside of this, we're going to say export const retry, which is going to be asynchronous. All right. And we're going to have this as this. So inside of here, we are going to, say the function itself, which is going to be our promise of void, right? Max attempts, number, let's just say, let's not pass the default number there. All right. Delay is going to be number as well. All right. So inside of this, let's add a type here. And the type is going to be promise. And this is going to be any. Right. And let's just add an arrow function right here. So this doesn't throw an error. So this is what the type look like, just a promise. Right. So let's create a function, right, or a for loop rather, and say let's, attempt be equal to 1 by default. Attempt attempt is going to be less or equal to max attempt. And finally, just increase that. Do an increment right there. So for every for loop, while loop or do while loop, you're going to need to set up a try and catch. So try, and we're not only going to try, we're also going to catch error as well. So for the try, we are basically going to see just return what? Return await the function itself, right? So the error, if attempt is strictly equal to max attempt, right? What we have to do is just throw error, all right? And also now pass the await new promise, right? So inside of it, we're going to pass an arrow function and just set timeout, right? And just pass a resolve and a delay. So this is just JavaScript and TypeScript. Like I said, that is a prerequisite for following this tutorial. So this is what the retry looks like. And if I add here and just import this from Expo notification provider, can't find the module. This should actually, still saying can't find it. Let me just see, let me just copy, let me see what we are doing wrong with this. So rename Expo notification provider.tsx. That is correct. So let me save this. Expo notification provider as well. Why is this still throwing an error? So let's even start with this. Let's close this for now. Let's open it again. Notification provider, still throwing that error. You know what? Let's call it a different name. Expo notification providers. Let's add an S. Right. Let's add an S. And that fixed that error. Right. So while A as well, as you can see, S as well. So that kind of fixed our errors. Cool thing, and let's just leave this as it is, because so far this and this is the same. We're good, right? It is just the file name that was throwing an error earlier. So retry function, we've set that up in our Expo, as you can see right here. All right. And before leaving here, the for loop, right, is just, where we are throwing something. We still have to, throw a new error and just say retry failed. So save that. Moving on, let's set up, the push token store, right, to keep our push notifications. So after this, we're just going to add, to stand store for Expo push token. So inside of here, let's just quickly create an interface type, right? And say Expo push token store. And first things first, Expo push token is going to be stringed or null, right? And set Expo push token. We are going to set this value inside of this. It's going to be not Expo push token alone, but just call it token. Call it token string, and it's also going to be a function, right? Then to the main store itself, export const use Expo push token, and we're going to say this is going to be create, and this is going to look like this. Before we leave here, let's add the Expo push token store here, right? Then inside of this, we want to now create an arrow function, right, which is going to look like this. Great. Where are we going to bring our crate from? Let's go to the top of our code, import crate from toStand, and that error should disappear in a bit. So the store is quite straightforward, right? All we have to do is just say set right here, all right, and say Expo push token. We're going to set it to null, and also set Expo push token to this. So basically, we're creating an arrow function, passing the token, setting the Expo push token, as the token. Save this, and if we head back to our notification provider, let me bring this right here. So this is the first guy that we're seeing. So right here, we can say, let me add a comma right here, and let's add a curly braces right here. And what we're going to do is copy all of this and put this right here. So save that. You can see this first error disappears. So this, we're also going to focus on that in a bit. So right after this, we want to create, a notification handler. What this does is basically, determines how notifications are displayed when app is in the foreground. There's foreground for your app, there is background. If you're using the app, if you're not using the app, let's determine how that will show, right? So we're going to say notification dot set notification handler. All right, and we're going to say undo notification. We're going to say async, right? And we are just going to say should show alerts. Yeah, we want this to show the alerts. That's the most important thing. Should play sound, of course, true as well. Should set badge, probably not, false. And also should show banner, set this to be true. Should show lists, that's going to be true as well. So where is this notification going to come from? Let's just import, go to the top of our code and say import everything regarding notification. So after it like this as notifications from Expo notification. So this error should disappear right away. That's the first thing we want to do there as well. So how do you now register the device to act for push notifications? That is what we want to do here. So say oop to register for Expo push notifications, right? So I'm going to say const use Expo push token, right? So after this, we're going to say const, let's just create Expo push token, set Expo push token, set this to use Expo push token store. All right, so this is the function and the state to actually set our push token to toStand so that it is available across our app. Now let's register, right? Register for push notifications, and we're just going to use a callback function so that it remembers that function and the performance of our app is good. So this is what the default, method looks like. Let's go to the top of our code and say import this callback from React, just like that. So right here is definitely needs some things, and what we are going to do is inside of this, we're going to pass an async right here. An async right here and say set Expo push token right here. All right. So after this, first things first, we have to check if the device is running on a physical device. So, check if, running on a physical device. All right. So we're going to say if, right? We're going to say if device dot is device is not true. That is, if you're not on a real device, right? What are we going to do? We are basically going to say console.log, and we're just going to say must use physical device for push notifications or are only supported on real device, and we're just going to return something. So where is our device going to come from? Let's go to the top of our code and say import, or as device from Expo device, and this error should disappear as well. All right. Moving on, we want to get the specific, project ID from our configurations, right? So we're going to say, get Expo project ID from configuration, right? And we are going to say const project ID. We're going to say is equal to constant. So this is how to get your, configs if you're not in development. Let's say you're in production. This is how to get it accurately. Constant dot expo config, then dot extra dot ees dot project ID. So if that is true, right, we can definitely just copy this again, put this right here. But instead of getting it from EAS, we can definitely just, get it from this. All right. Else, we can definitely just pass in our, ID that we initially have from our Brave browser. If you go to our Expo, just copy this ID right here and just put this right here. All right. For this to save without throwing an error, let's go to the top of our code and say import, right, constant, in capital letter, import constant from Expo constant, and that error should also disappear. So save that. Our project ID does not exist on the type. No issues with that. Let's just forge ahead with this. That's just a type error. So this is the project ID that we saved here. So after this, right, let's check existing permission. If the user has already set, permission that, okay, yes, for this app, we've already set the permission, agree to it. So check existing permissions, right? And for this, all we are going to say is const. We're going to say status. We're going to say existing status. Let's bring this up. This is what this would look like. And we are going to say await, right, notifications dot get permission async, and it's going to be a method. So this is how to get an existing permission, right? And also let final status be equal to existing status. So this is us using this value here. So the final status, now if the final status is not true, let's now request for the permission. All right. So exit if permission not granted. So here we're now going to say if the final status is not equal to granted, right? We are now going to say const error, lowercase const, error is not going to be new error, and we are going to pass, failed to get push token for push notifications, right? That is permission not granted. All right. So that is the if, and we are also going to, say return an empty one right there. Then that is if the permission is not granted. So we just exit out of that function right away without even stressing much. But if the user actually grants us that permission, you cannot try. You can try something and say else. Let's have this as well. So not else, rather the catch. We are going to catch the error. All right. So inside of the try, all right, I'm going to get the Expo push token with a retry logic. So first things first, console.log. Right. I like using console.log because it's good for, debugging with project ID. All right. So we're going to pass the project ID to it. So getting push token with project ID. This is the project ID. Then const expo token is going to be await. Then retry. Remember we create the retry method earlier. This is where we are going to retry it. And we're going to say async is going to be of a synchronous function. We're going to say const token data, basically creating a variable called token data. Token data is going to be assigned to await, notifications dot get, expo. This is the main function to get the push token. Push token is synchronous. All right. So how to get the push token? What are we going to pass as the parameter here? Project ID is going to be project ID. So this retry expected 3 arguments, but we just got 1. That is fine. And after this as well, let me just say this for now. After the token data, all right, we're going to say console.log. And we're just going to say, successfully got push token with project ID. And, instead of having all of this, let's render the push token itself and just say token data dot data. And finally, we are going to return, what are we going to return? Token data dot data. All right, so save this, and it's still saying an argument for max attempt was not provided. So moving on, you can still see we're still getting this error, right? We are still going to, finalize everything. So outside of this, after this asynchronous, let me see it. Where do we have our async? So this is basically our async right here. All right, so outside of our async, right, we are going to, let me bring this down. Let me minimize this. And right here is where we're going to pass the max attempt, which is going to be 3 and also 1000. All right, so after this as well, let's pass a comma. So save this, and this is saying parameters of void. Okay, so let's just see what we are doing wrong. Let's head to our retry again. Let's go to our retry, and let's just pass in an any here, and let's see if that error disappears. Right, that error disappears. Okay, so after doing all of this, let's set set Expo push token to Expo token. All right, then if there's any error, what do? Console.error, error getting push token, and just specify the error as well. And we're going to say if error is instance of error, what are we going to do? Console.error.message. Save this, and this is what getting your token should look like, right? And let me just minimize all of this. So const expo push token. So this is just registering for the token. So after all of this, let's create the use effects, right? And let's just create an arrow function. All right. Let's pass a comma right here. So inside of this, let me import that from, React, use effect from React. And inside of this is where we want to now say register for push notifications, which is this function that we created, right? And just passing a method like that. Then the dependency that we recall this is definitely going to be register for push notifications. All right. And finally here, we are going to return, what are we going to return? Expo push token. Save this, and we are almost there. So before we now implement this finally, let me minimize this. Now I'm going to say I want to queue for failed database update, right? So in case I want to save to the database and I want to queue things, this is where I can set things up. All right. So let me just, on my app right here, if I just minimize this app and uninstall it, let me uninstall it so I can show you what the pop-up would look like. So if I head into my, let me just search for App Store, and let me search for Expo Go, and just install this. This is what it looks like. This is going to show you that notification that, okay, hey, ask for, push notifications, right? So right here, we've not even used this at all, right? So what we are going to do is inside of here, we're going to say const expo, push token is going to be assigned to use expo push token. So save this, right? And this has finally installed. Let me just open it. Right. This is what it looks like, and it will look like on your end as well. So to be able to use this, let's say continue in our code base right here, and just create a use effect, right? A use effect. This is going to be an arrow function. So right here, what are we going to do? We're going to say if expo push token is true, just console log that token. Again, creating a use effect. If expo push notification is true, just console log that token, and just passing expo push token as that value right there. All right, so with this, fingers crossed, we should be able to get our push token. And let's just go to our notification providers. And as you can see, this is still missing, right? I can as well just copy. Let me remove this for now. I can comment this out. I can comment this out so we don't get any errors while we are wrapping our code around things. All right, so save this. Let's head to our layout. Let's head to our layout. So app, layout, and we're going to wrap our app around this. So we are going to say notification provider, and just cut all of this as well and put this right here. Save this, and once we start our app, it's going to ask for permission, and we are going to be able to get our push token. But for us to actually see our push token, let's see, instead of seeing it in our console.log right here, or we can actually do that, just see the push token that we get. All right, so let's start our app once again. Okay, it's already started. Let me just scan this QR code. So you might not see anything for now, and that's because that is one of the behaviors of Expo Go at first. You can see it's going to ask you, allow Expo Go to find device on other local network. Click on allow, go to the QR code again, scan this, and you should see the app opening right away. All right, so fingers crossed. It's going to try to bundle the app again, and you see downloading 100%. Continue. Yes, and yeah, you can see nothing is happening for now. That's because probably we still have to stop our server and start it again. These are just little bit of warnings, right? Because we're supposed to see our our token right there. So let me just stop the server. If you're not seeing anything, just stop your server, clear it, start it again, npx expo start. And as you can remember as well, in our documentation, inside of our Expo push notification, right, we've installed all of these. One of the requirements is to actually add this in our app.json, right? So let's just go to our app.json, inside of, let me minimize this, app.json, then inside of plugins, let me minimize this. You are just going to add this right away. All right. So that is for Expo notifications to work. Let me bring this up. Now let me just scan this QR code once again. So I'm just going to clear this. Click on the camera to open or bundle the app from scratch. So this has bundled successfully. Still not asking us. Whoops, that is not good. It's supposed to ask us, the permission needed. So let me just see what we are doing wrong inside of our notification provider. And let's just go to our index. Let's go to our index, or let's check once again what we are doing wrong here. So after adding this, if you are not seeing anything, let's just go to our Expo notification providers. And inside of this, let's check what we are doing wrong. So this is what our code base currently looks like. And let's see if we actually requested for that permission. Let's see, after this, we're getting the project ID. We're checking the existing permission. If permission is not granted, we are actually, logging that, but we didn't actually ask for the permission, right? So let's request permission, if not already granted. So after this, you're going to say if, right? I'm going to say existing status is not granted, or is not true, or equal to granted, right? Then let's request for that permission right away. So I'm going to say const status is going to be await notifications.requests.
we are not actually requesting earlier. My apologies. So const status is going to be assigned to use notification like this, and also final status is going to be equal to status. Fingers crossed, if I save this, you should see this pop-up that says Expo Go would like to send you notifications. Let me just bring this up, right? If I click on allow, it should see our push token immediately. So let me click on allow. As you can see, getting push notification token with project ID. This is my project ID. So that's really gotten the push notifications. Let me copy this. Control C. As you can see, this is our push token. And if I just bring this down and head to our push notification tool right here, as you can see, if I paste this right here, this is what the push notification for this device looks like when we're running Expo Go. All right. So access token, I'm going to walk you through what all of this means in a bit. But for now, let's just add message title. Say, yay, we got push token. Message body, hello world. And for iOS, let's just send a notification. Right. So let me minimize this a bit. So once we click on send, you're going to see it comes in right away. So send notification. And if we check our Expo and check push notifications, it should actually log something right here. But if it doesn't log anything, then that means that we actually need to, initialize our app. Right. Let's take this further. Let's go to our accounts. So while here, let me just delete this. Let me delete this. Let me go to settings, JPush app. Let's delete it. Delete it, JPush app. Confirm deletion. Delete it. My password, verify it. Password is incorrect. Let me type in my password again. Update my password, start deleting it. Now let's go through, that process again. So let's call this JPush app. Create this. So this we didn't go through it properly the other time. So if we go for existing code base, because that is what we have right now, we copy this first, right? Copy this first. For you, you're going to need to install this first. But for me, I've installed it. And how do you check if you actually installed it? Go to your cursor, bring up your terminal, just, clear everything here and just say ES-V. You should see your ES version. Okay, that's not the correct command. No worries at all. As you can see, just -V instead of -V. And you can see the version you are running on, ES-CLI. So that is what you want to do with that, right? So thank God I quickly copied that other command. So after this, let's initialize our project. So click on enter. This is going to initialize our app, and we have to also replace all of this ID with, let's get back into this, copy this, and what this is going to do is it is going to link our project with our app.json. So we're going to have it right here. This is what it is going to do. And if you check my Expo push providers, I added some values there before. Let me check thoroughly so as to replace all of them one after the other. So let me put all of these inside of this, save this. And yes, I believe that is what I want to do. I believe I did that in 2 places. Let me search. Okay, 1F. Let me search my entire code base. 1F. Let me bring this down. Okay, my project ID as well. So copy all of this and replace this. Let me close this. And inside of our app.json, you should see your project links together. This is where you added these extras and owner. This is the owner of the project, which is me right here. And also this ID, it helps us automatically links it. All right. So I'm quite optimistic that this will fix our error. So if we close the app.json and head back to our layout, minimize this, let's head to our push notification tool. And if I just go to our push notification tool right here, it's still the same token right here. Send a push notification. Still not getting anything, just stop your app and start it all over again. All right. So just, stop this, clear it, start it all over again. The push token might have changed when we, swapped, the ID. So just change this. So clear this and just scan this QR code right here once again. I'm pretty sure the ID might have changed. So you still got our push token and it still seems it's the same thing. Copy this. It ends with G6. And let's just replace this once again. And let's just say hello. Send a notification. As you can see, hello world, hello hi there. That took a while, right? And let me just remove this. Let me see if that was the issue. Let me send the notification again. And as you can see, everything is working as it should. So our issue before was we didn't initialize our project with, we didn't initialize our project with our code base. So that was why I think what caused the issue. So, ladies and gentlemen, our push notification is working for Expo, right? We can now move forward to setting up, one signal push notifications, which is this right here, and, testing the alternative to Expo push notifications. And even before we leave here, we can render, the push token so that we don't have to, let's add here inside of our app, then inside of our tabs, inside of our index.tsx, right? We can now see inside of line 27, instead of all of these, instead of step 1, try it. Let's just see, Expo push token. Then inside of this theme text, let me remove all of this. So we are left with this. Then we can now see Expo push token else no token. Oops, this is going to be inside of a string. No token found. So where is Expo push token going to come from? We are going to go to the top of our code and say const Expo push token is going to come from use push token store. And what would that look like? Import use push token store coming from provider's notification provider. Save this, and this value should be replaced. And you can see the Expo push token, the same thing that we have in our, console.log right here, which is this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, everything works fine. Let's move on to the next stage of one signal. One signal is kind of, taking it to the next level, but, it has its advantages as well. So let's just jump into that right away. So for us to set the, alternative to this up, let's go to one signal right here. And if we head to our browser, right, we are going to create a new app, right? And what this app is going to call is going to be, J push app. Under which organization, you can create a new organization, and just the organization name is going to be J push app org. Organizational website's not important. So select your channel, your first channel, at least you can configure everything later. So click on Apple iOS, right? And you can click on next, configure your platform. So this is what that will look like. They will ask you to upload some things so that everything can work smoothly. Now let's configure your app. Follow our documentation for connecting to APN documentation. Let me close some of this, right? So Code with Joseph. If you're still yet not subscribed, guys, go to Code with Joseph and subscribe. Watch the videos, like, subscribe, and all of that. So let me just close my GitHub as well. And let me close this Expo push notification as well. Let me close this tool. Let me leave the tool. So this is everything they ask you to submit, right? Let's follow their documentation so that we can see how to set things up. iOS P8 token-based connection to APNs. Don't worry. What you need is, an iOS mobile app like this, a paid Apple developer account, right? Quite important, with admin access. A OneSignal account, which you've already created for this. A Mac with Xcode 14, no, you don't need that. An Xcode project with this, no, you don't need this, right? So, step 1, get your .p8 key in Apple developer account. How do you get that? Just go to your Apple developer account, right click on this. So this opens developer.apple.com. And basically what you're going to do is go to accounts. You're going to need to log in into your account. So just give this a second. I'm just going to pass in my information right here. Just going to remember me, sign in. And it's going to, ask me to enter a code. Let me just allow it. And it's going to be 060572. Okay. Trust my device. Obviously trust my device. And it's going to show this. This is what we want to see first, right? A lot of information, but just focus on where I'm going, right? Go to your keys. As you can see, it says, go to your keys, click on the blue icon to add a key. So keys, this is what it looks like. Create a key. You're going to call these, J push key. No description. Click on this, and it says this service must have been configured and type configured. Click on configure. Click on sandbox and production. Team scoped this. Save this, and this is what, let me say, JPush notifications. The name doesn't really matter, just that you should be able to remember it. Moving on, click on continue, and it shows just the summary of what you've done. Click on register. After downloading your key, it cannot be re-downloaded as the server copy is removed. If you are not prepared to download your key at this time, click done and download it later time. But once you click on download, that's it. So click on download, save it to your download, save it, gets downloaded. Then some of this information, I'm just going to copy it. So your key ID, copy it. Go to your APN. This .p8 file, select this, and it is going to show you something. On my computer, choose, go to download, and this exact file, just upload it. Upload the exact thing, upload it successfully, as you can see. So the key ID, which is this right here, so just paste this. Your team ID, where can you get your team ID? This is your team ID right here. Right. So how do I copy this? Okay. So let me just copy this. I'm going to remove all of those values later. So paste this, remove all of this. App bundle ID. This is where things get interesting. How do you get your app bundle ID? Head to your cursor. Inside of your app.json, right? We have to, specify the app bundle ID, right? First things first, inside of your app.json, set this to false, right? Put a comma right here and say bundle identifier. For bundle identifier, it's going to be a combination of com dot your owner's name, and also your app name, as you can see right here. So copy this guy. He has to be the same. So save this and put this right here. Voila, you're good to go. So save and continue. As you can see right here, this is instruction. This is everything we followed. Register a new key, download it, set everything up, and your value is right here. P8 file, you're good to go. And where to get it. All right. So after this, they'll ask you which framework or library you're using to build this app. All right. So for us, we're using React Native Expo, right? And save and continue. This is what your app ID looks like. If I copy this, I'm going to add to my code base, add to where we have providers, we have notification configs, and replace, just add this here. This is quite important. We're going to need it later. So after adding that, just add to, you're going to say check subscribed user. It's going to say we haven't detected any subscribed user yet. What that means is basically you're yet to ask for, the push token for the device, right? And for you to actually do that, you need to set up some things. So right here, you can say read our React Native Expo documentation. Click on this right here. This is going to show the step-by-step documentation of how to do it. As you can see, a bare React Native app. From manage Expo apps, use Expo SDK setup. This is the SDK setup. And what you need is a manage Expo app. For bare apps, use this Expo developer build. So because we are using Expo Go, one signal doesn't work on Expo Go, but we are going to build the app and install it as a normal app, right? So the version Expo SDK 48 plus, you can confirm that here, Expo, right? And Expo EAL's CLI, React Native 0.71 and the likes. iOS requirements, we don't need the Mac OS. We just need our device to be at least greater than iOS 12.0. I'm running, I believe, iOS 18.7.1, which is good. The next version I'm supposed to upgrade to is iOS 26, which brings in all these glass effects. But I don't want to do that yet. Cocoa Pods, you don't need that, right? All you have to do is just set this up. So Android 7.0, cool. So to set things up, you have to install their packages, right? So copy this, go to your app, go to your terminal, clear this, put this right here, select this. So this installs the One Signal Expo plugin. Let's head back here. Add the React Native One Signal. This is the package that doesn't work in Expo Go. Copy this. Bring this up. This is still installing. Let's give this a second or two. So let me just minimize this. It started these 23 packages, which is nice. Now let's install these. Once you install these, you might get an error that, okay, a package that you're using doesn't work in Expo Go, which is fine. And let's just open this. So configure the plugin. So open your app.json or app.config.js on your body identifier. Make sure that it matches what you already set, right? When we're setting things up here, make sure it matches. Info.pleased, right? Requires the UI background modes, requires the APS environment and all of this. Basically, what they mean is this. So first things first, let's copy this. You know what? Let's copy all of these guys. Copy this. Let's add to our app.json. Underneath of this is where you want to paste this. Right. So save this. Don't change anything. Just put that as it is. So go up, right? For plugins, you're going to add this. So copy all of this. Copy all of this, minimize this, go to your plugins, right? You must make sure that it's the first thing, right? This guy, as you can see, they said here, your apps plugin array, it is required to add the plugin to the top of the plugins array, to the top, right? So add it to the top, right here. put a comma right here, save this, and yes, this is what that looks like. And you can definitely remove this. You can definitely remove this. And yes, that is what that looks like. If you're in production, put production here. If you're in development, put development. And moving on, let's check the documentation. I think we've set up everything that we need to set. For our Android as well, we can say copy all of this. And let's head to Android. And let's put these, I believe, let's put these right here. Oops. Let's put these right here. And let's replace com.codeswithjoseph.jpush. That is what that would look like. And that concludes, our implementation on app.json. And the next thing we have to do is, because you're using Expo router, right? We need to click on Expo router and copy all of this. So copy all of these guys. Copy this in your root layout. You have to add it, right? So let me close this. In my root layout, let me close the Expo notification. In my root layout, just here, I want to add this, all right? Let me go to the top of my code and say import, use effects from React. And also right here, copy all of these and put this right here. All right, so this error disappears. This one signal, what it basically means is replace your ID with this. And if you check notification.config, or same thing that we have right here, copy this guy, add to your layouts, and add this. Paste this right again. So save this. It's going to initialize your app with this ID. And all of this basically means, as you can see, the JavaScript code try to access a native module that doesn't exist, right? So basically, we have to build our app for developmental build, all right? But before we leave here, everything has been set up properly. Now let's configure our app to just build the developer build so that our app would look like an app on our device like this. So package.json, close it, layout, close it. We're going to come back to it. This, close it. App.json, let's configure this to properly include everything we want to include. So support tablet false, right? Bundle identifier, info placed. Let's add one more thing here that says ITS, app uses non-exempt expression, put false there. And yes, so let's just check that everything is set up properly. Right, so we can just save this. Let's minimize this. Copy this. This is how to build your app for, production or development and all of that. So this is going to be app.config. Oops. app.config.js. So have that there. Then right here, add export default and add all of this. So if you save this, it's going to reformat your code. It's going to remove the curly braces outside of that. And this is what we want to use. Now, before we leave here, our assets, because I like, apps that have icons and everything. Icon.png, right? Let me replace this. So I'm going to head to my downloads. Let me head to my downloads. So these two guys, if you click on these, you see what that looks like. So just copy these two guys, put inside of your images, and it says, do you want to replace what you already have? Replace them, and you see what this looks like. This is what it looks like with the background, all right? So minimize this, close this guy, and you should see our icon right here. This is what our icon would look like once it is rendered properly, and the splash screen as well. This is what it is. So let me close this. And I believe because I've initialized my project with, this, we can run the build. But before you run the build, you have to, run something else. So if I go to my code and say EAS build configure, click on this. This is going to create an EAS.json file right here, but it's going to ask us a question first. So just give this a second. As you can see, which platforms do you like to configure for EAS? So just click on enter both. You can see EAS.json right here. So inside of this, they're going to configure some things. I made a full video about this. The links is going to be up showing anywhere right now. And this is basically how to build your app, right? I don't want to go through this again because I have like a 1 hour video for that. I'm just going to copy and paste what I already have in that video here. Straightforward, right? So remove all of this and paste this right here. This is what that looks like. So CLI stays the same, app version remote. Therefore, the build is where things get interesting, right? Like I said, I already made a video about all of this. Let me remove this for now because you don't have our app ID yet. So development is what it looks like. Development clients true, distribution internal, channel development. Preview distribution is internal, channel is preview. Production, auto increments true, Android build type, APK, iOS resource class, medium, channel production, simulator, extend development, and all of this, Android as well. All right, so save this and we can build our app basically, right? So let's go to this and save our code and say, app version 1, commit this. It is the commit that, the EAS cloud we use to build our app. So if I just type EAS, why are we having an issue here? To EAS build -- profile. Our profile is going to be development. -- platform is going to be iOS for now. So click on enter. It's going to build all our app. And you can, ask, why are we not writing the code for the one signal yet? If you run the developmental build, right, you can always write the code and it works just like your Expo, but it's just different, right? Now you're working on your app installed on an iPhone, but in development. Once you change the code, things change. But if you change the package, add the package, you have to build again. That's why I added the Superbase package earlier, right? So if I just, he asked me, do you want to install EAS CLI to install Expo Dev Client? Yes, I want you to do that. All right. So it's going to install a new package, right? Package.json, and we're going to make sure that we commit before we run the build totally. So it's installing the, Expo Dev Client. Just give this a second or two. And this is quite interesting because you're learning a lot. So let me quickly add this. Add new package. Commit it. 177 packages are looking for funding. I wish I could, So this is installing every necessary things. And this is probably going to ask you to log into your iOS device or iOS account, right? Which is the, Apple developer account. So just give me a second to run through its course. And yeah, just give it a moment. Initializing build. Do you want to install EAS update now? No, not for now. Do you want to log into your Apple account? Yes. This is my Apple ID. Click on enter. Restoring sessions. The password for this. Let's see if that's correct. Logged in. How do you want to validate your account with, device? Allow it on my device. 297745. 297745. Click on enter, validating code, logged in and verified, team expert vetted, select a provider, select this, and this is my bundle identifier. an attribute in the provided entity has an invalid value, which is this. Remove the value group dots from the array. If you know the ID is registered to one of your app, try again with a different. Okay, so let me just minimize this in my app.json, which I can always update any moment later. Let me first remove what they said we should add. Let me go to my app.config.js and entitlements. Let me remove this for now. Let me remove this. Remove entitlement from app.config.js. Commit it. Bring this up. Clear it. Run the build again. Fingers crossed that error doesn't show again. So that seems to work. I believe the issue we had before was adding the entitlement to our app.config.js, and that kind of threw an error. So we said certificate ID. This exists. I don't want to use this. I want to create a new one. Add a new certificate. Generate a new one. Generate the new certificate. Failed to create a new certificate. I have to revoke one of these. So let me just click the most recent. Revoke it. Revoke this as well. And it's going to recreate the app distribution. All right. Which device do I want to use? JustTax, which is my device right here. And let's just continue with things. Create a new profile. Linking boundary identifier. And reuse this certificate created 2 seconds ago. Yes. Reuse this. Select the device. Add up provisioning profiles. And all of that. Would you like to set up push notification for this project? This is for Expo. Expo is asking us because, there are 2 things that we're trying to implement here. One is, if you go back, this is, one signal, but also we're setting up for Expo. They can both ask for, notifications, right? So if I go to my app and say, do you want to set it up? Yes. It's going to create a new key for us automatically. Add a new key, existing key, add a new push key. Generate a new one, yes. So this is how to add push notifications to your app. Compiling project files and EAS build. Our file size is 783 kilobytes. Computing it. And if you head to your, Expo dashboard, you should see it coming any moment from now. Just give it a second. Let's go to our build rather. You should see it right here. All right. So this is building less than a minute. It's going to start building any moment from now. While that is running, let us set up, our one signal, provider so that it's able to ask for, the key needed to run this. So if I go to providers, one signal provider, minimize this, build is in progress. And if you check my dashboard as well, build is in progress as well. This should be done any moment from now. So minimize this. And inside of this, I'm going to create the same thing I, created earlier. So if I go to my Expo, let me open to the site. For the retry, I'm going to copy this as well. Helper function. Copy this, take this to the top, put it right here. All right, so that's the first thing I want to copy there. Save it. So for the one signal store, let me copy all of this, put it right here, and change this to stand store for, one signal push token. So instead of this being called one signal, let me bring in create real quick. In fact, let me copy this, put this right here. So that first error should disappear. So for this, let's rename this from Expo push token to what? To one signal push token store. So click this, click Alt, while still holding this, and just replace this with one signal push token store. All right. So for this, we're going to replace this instead of Expo push token. Let's replace this is one signal push token, and this is also going to take one, signal user ID, which is going to be a string as well. Then instead of set Expo push token, it's going to be set one signal push token, then set one signal user ID. All right, for all of this, we have to replace it, as you can guess. So for this, basically copy this, put this right here. All right, that's one. So also, we are going to copy this. We are going to put this right here, set to null. All right. So for this as well, copy this, the one signal push taken, put it right here. But instead of this saying Expo push token, we're just going to copy one signal push token, put it right there. And finally, we're going to say set one signal user ID to be user ID, set one signal user ID to user ID. So how do you get one signal push token, right? This is going to be interesting. So for this, we are going to say, let's minimize this. And this is not supposed to be use Expo push store. It's supposed to say use one signal push token store. All right. We have to be consistent with what we name our app. Let's see if our app is still building. Let's check here. Oops. iOS build failed. We detected some error in your Xcode provisioning com.one signal ad hoc doesn't support the group.com in target one signal service extension from JPush app, provisioning profile, and all of this. Yes, we're going to solve all of this in a moment. So let's just, minimize this. Let's finish the code for this for now. After this, so this is going to be hook to, get one signal push token. All right. And we're going to say const use one signal push token. All right. And inside of this, we're going to say const, right? What are we going to have? We're going to say one signal push token, one signal user ID, set one user this and this. This is basically what we want to do. So remove this for now. So we're getting all of these guys from one signal push token store, one signal push token store. So after this, we are going to say const get one signal info. This is going to be use call back. Use call back. Back. All right. And it's going to be an asynchronous function. Async. And also have this like this. So we're going to try something. And we're also going to catch the error. So catch the error. All right. So for the error, we are just going to say console.error. We're just going to say error getting one signal info. All right. And for this async, right, for this callback, we are not done with this callback yet. We still have to pass in, set one signal push token and set one signal user ID. All right. So inside of the try, let's import use callback real quick. So import one signal, import use callback from React. So that error should first disappear. So inside of the try, let's first get one signal user ID. So get one signal user ID, right? So say const one signal, const one signal ID result is going to be one signal dot user dot get one signal ID. And let's go to the top of our code and say import one signal right there. All right. And it says what? This doesn't exist. The type doesn't exist. And to get that user, we're actually not going to be importing like this. We are going to destructure this. Just destructure this, right? And that error should disappear. So once we get the one signal ID, all right, we're now going to say const one signal ID is going to be equal to one signal ID is going to be equal. Let's go through that once again. Const one signal ID is going to be one signal ID results instance of promise. All right. And we are going to say await one signal ID results, else just use one signal ID results. All right. So this is missing definitely. And why are we need to add this here? So that error disappears. So moving on, we are going to say if one signal ID is true, all right, what are we going to do with that? Well, we're just going to say console.log. We're going to say successfully got one signal ID and just log the one signal ID. After that, we're going to say set one signal ID to this value. All right, so we're already using our store right here. Moving on, so now let's get the push token, right? Get push subscription token. So after that, we're going to say const push token sync is going to be assigned to one signal dot user dot push subscription, and this subscription is now going to see dot get push subscription token, right? It's deprecated but it's still working, and that is how to get your push token. So after this, we are going to say if the push token sync is true, right? Now what we're going to say is just console.log and say one signal push subscription ID, and let's just put the ID right there, which is basically push token sync. All right, so after this, we're just going to set one signal push token to be the value of push token sync. Else, as you can guess, if you don't get anything, we're going to say try async version as fallback. All right, so what this is going to say is const push token async is going to be await one signal dot user dot push subscription dot get what are we getting? We're getting
token async. All right. So after this, we are going to still have, something that says push token async is true, right? We are now saying console.log, right? So let's really got push token async. One signal push token async, right? Then we are still going to set one signal push token to push token async, right? So why is this throwing an error type of? So just save this and let's see everything inside of this. Cut this. It's supposed to be inside of this. That's why it's throwing that error right then. So let's now say, let's get the push subscription ID. So, get push subscription ID. And let's just say const is opted in is going to be assigned to one signal dot user dot push subscription dot get opted in. Deprecated but still working. All right, so console.log and say one signal, or just say it's opted in. I just pass is opted in. So if there's any error, we've logged that in already. So after all of this, we are now going to have a use effect, right? Basically an arrow function inside of is with the dependency right here. So inside of the use effect, I'm going to say after this, say const timer is going to be equal to set timeout and get one signal info and pass the value of 1000 to that and just say return. What are we returning? Create timeout, right? And here pass in get one signal info. And finally, we're going to say return, right? What are we returning? We're returning one signal push token and one signal ID. Voila. This is how to get your one signal push token. All right. So inside of here, we are going to have, before this return statement, we're going to say const one signal push token and also one signal user ID. We're going to assign this to it because that is what we're returning. And finally, we are just going to come here and say use effects, right? Let's just pass in. So we want to console.log it basically. Let me close this so that error disappears. So inside of this, I'm going to see if one signal push token is true, just console.log one signal push token. And also if one signal user ID is true, just console.log this and pass all of these as the dependencies and all of that. So this completes our one signal notification provider, right? And let's just go to our notification provider and make sure to activate some of the things that we removed earlier. So one signal push token, let's go to the top of and see import one signal push token from one signal notification provider. Let's uncomment this as well. So we are returning both of these guys. All right. So also export one signal push token store. Save this as well. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we're done with our provider. All we have to do next, let me see. Yes, we are done with things. So let me just head to my my index.tsx and render the other token as well. So let me just use what AI is giving me right here. So I'm importing one signal push token from use push token and also rendering this as this. So that completes that. And all you have to do is just fix our build error. let me save this and say added one signal token provider. So commit this, and even let's go to our notification provider or notification config, and let's set this to one signal. All right. So close this index, close this. Here's the JSON, app.json, app.config, one signal provider. Let me close all of this. And let's say added or make one signal default. Commit this, and let's check our Expo. Let's check our Expo build failed. Why did it failed? Failed job. And let me see. Provisioning profile, Expo, Cozy Joseph doesn't support the group. Okay. App target in one signal notification service extension from project JPush. Okay. So let me copy all of this. And let's first check our app.config.js. app.config.js. So running the build again, we can see that we've gone past that stage where our app is crashing or our build is failing, right? And if you're experiencing that, some of you might not experience it, but if some of you are experiencing that, just follow these steps, right? Your certificates, delete whatever certificate you have, click this and revoke it. That's one. Go to your identifiers, delete this. So you have Joseph JPush app, right? For your own, just revoke it, right? Revoke it, remove it like this. Anything that you have that is duplicate for JPush app, remove it, right? For this was for the former app that I have, but for this app I'm building is JPush app. This is not JPush app. That's why I'm leaving this. So as you can see, JPush app, remove it, right? Go to your keys. Remove these two guys, click on these, revoke it, right? And you can now go to your, project, go to your overview, and, go to your settings, or where do I have my settings, right? You go back to your account, go click on this, go to your settings, delete this project, delete it, and create a new project with this exact same name, right? And once you create a new project, you go here, we're going to copy this ID, head back to your project, wherever here you have Expo notification providers, for your project ID, remove this, paste what you just copied, head back to, your es.json, no, not here, to your app.json, right? Remove this as your project ID, remove it, put the new ID, app.config.js, remove this, put the new ID. Please take note of that. Providers, head to notification config.tx, this app ID, Expo project ID, remove it, paste the new ID, right? As you can see, our build is successful. So I'm going to show you what I did. So for the one signal as well, I want you to replace it, but before you replace this, you have to, go to your one signal. For this, go to your dashboard, remove this project, create another one, go through all of the steps that we went through to get to this stage, copy your app ID, right? Then replace it with your app ID here, replace it with that. Then if you go to your, one signal, I don't think we use the ID here at all. If you go to your, app layout, what you have right here, EB, is make sure that is exactly what you have right here. So just copy this. As you can see, my app ID is not quite the same. So just put this right here, replace that. And what else? So anyway you have old keys, replace it with new keys and run the, Expo,
the Expo CLI again, which is this Expo build profile development, and it starts everything afresh, right? The mistake we did was when we initially added app.config.js, and we added entitlements here, inside of app.json, we only just duplicated that file. Our mistake was copying all of this and putting it here. But, app.config, once you do that, it creates another app bundle, and that kind of just confuses EAS, right? And it creates some confusion. So, as you can see, this has been installed, or this has been built successfully. Go to your Expo, and you're going to see build successful right here. So if you just go to install, click on install, it's going to show you a QR code, and you're going to, just scan this with your camera. So just scan this with your camera, open in iTunes. It's going to say, do you want to install JPush app? Install this guy. So if you, as you can see right here, you have the, app waiting right here. Let me just hold this and, take it to this screen right here while it's installing. So this is installing. Just give this a moment. As you can see, it has installed successfully. Next thing we have to do is, if you click on it, it's going to open, and you're going to see something like this, which shows that this is a development server. Minimize this, then go to your initial app. Okay, clear this. Let's start our server again. npx export start. So once you start that, it's going to, instead of using Expo Go this time, we're going to use Expo development rather. Again, instead of using Expo Go, we're going to use development server. As you can see, it is using development build. Just take your camera once again. Take your camera, scan this, open in JPush app. You're going to see this pop-up that says, do you want to allow this? Allow. And scan it again. Now it's going to build the app. It's going to start building the app. And just watch out for, our token. It's going to ask us, do you want to allow push notifications in your app? So it's, as you can see, JPush app would like to send you notifications. This is from one signal, not Expo. So click on allow, click on continue, close this. One signal token not found, Expo push token not found yet, right? So if you bring this up, one signal user ID, but we're not able to get the push token, right? If you just check this, go to your one signal, check for subscribed user. As you can see, congratulations, your first user running on iPhone 12.5 has been successfully subscribed. Click on done. And if you go to your, messages, push, send your first push. If I click on new push, right, I can pick any of these pre-built templates, right, and just, test if it works actually. So if you click on, your deadline is approaching, just select this and, just use this. You don't need to change anything there. Just review and send. Send messages to everybody. Your message is sending. As you can see, your deadline is approaching. We've sent our push notification to the cloud, right, and to our respective phones. And I don't know why this is not showing for now, but so far that it works in the cloud, we can definitely know how easy was it to send your push notification. Easy, right? Really good product. Submit this. Thank you for taking part in our survey. Close this. As you can see, you successfully sent one. Go through it again. Send new messages, new push. Just pick anyone. Your exclusive access ends tomorrow. Ask now before times run out. Just a blank one, and just say, "Yay, we did it." And let me just say, "Sotu one." And you can see the icon right here. Select image. Select your image. Pick this. Download icon. Pick this. Save. And that icon, should show like this, right? Image that you want to show.
All right. So yeah. So I mean, send it again. Review and send. Notifications must have a language. Notifications must have any language content. Message. This is really cool. And you know what? Just review and send. Send the message. As you can see, yay, we did it. A subtle one. This is really cool. So that is for one signal while your app is running on development. If you want to just test things out with, Expo as well, go to your Expo provider, go to your notifications config, change this to Expo, save it. You should get your push token right away. Copy this, go to your push notification tool. You can see that it's going to be different. This ends with G6. Put this is going to end with 04, and test this again. Send notifications. As you can see, hello world. So Expo and one signal push notification works out of the box, right? We can definitely debug this further to get why the token is not showing. If we head into our, let's say our one signal push token, why is this not working? So where we are getting the one signal push token, if push token is true, set one signal push token. That is definitely what we want to do. One signal push ID. Is this supposed to be push ID? So instead of this saying push ID, let's just say push token, then push token sync, set one signal push token to push token async. All right. So what else are we missing here that is not allowing us to see our push token? So save this. It's still not showing that. You know what? Let me check my console.log. So as you can see, with a reload, I'm able to get my one signal push token right here. So this is the exact token that, one signal is using to send us a message. As you can see, this is what they are using specifically, right? And this is how to use, your push token or set things up with Expo and one signal. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've been able to learn a lot and pick, one or two, knowledge from this. As you can, see, we've successfully moved from, the basic app to getting the notifications for both Expo and one signal. All right. And this is what both looks like, right? So if you enjoyed this video, take a moment to go to my channel, click on the top sum button, make sure to like the video and, subscribe, because more interesting things would also be coming that you would, really like. Without further delay, check my other videos and, specifically this, learn how to deploy an Android app. That is what I have for you today. See you on the next video. Cheers and bye.